Hi everyone, it's Jeanette, Crafty Dork, just here to show you how I sew in my signatures. Now I won't be doing it in the island, from the island journal. I actually did a video on that, and through that video I did mention another crafter's name, and I have been doing one of her courses. So I just don't want to infringe on anything that might take away from her courses. I love her courses and they are brilliant. So I've decided not to put that one up. I'm going to do this one. It's a journal that I'm gifting to a friend. I've got one signature which is going to be, it's got ephemera in it, but it is going to just be paper clipped in so that she can see where everything, I intended everything to go, how things would look. So that will be the first signature. The second signature, I'll show you these bits in a minute. I'm just going to make up quickly with you. It's just going to have papers. And these are coffee stain papers that I did myself. You wouldn't believe it. I used coffee that we had brewed up, and it was plunger coffee. And I didn't think when I did it that the powder in the coffee would stay on the paper. So I have got all this coffee stain paper that has all this coffee powder all over it. So I've got to get some brushing done. So I'll just quickly do this with you. Well, it won't be quick, but I'll just do this with you. And this is just some of the different papers that I use. This is a bit of vellum that I use in my journals. There's something a little bit different. There's a bit of, I think this was from a garden magazine. And there's a bit from, so it's just to give this friend an idea of some of the papers that she can put into her journal. And this signature she can just fiddle around with herself to make it how she'd like it to be. I've got some back here of my, this is what I use, Rubius tea. It's a South African tea, and it just gives a beautiful, you can see the difference from the coffee and the tea. It's just a different colour altogether. I'll do that one. I might do another one of that one. And with this, I just fold them back so that you don't have to cut it off, and it can be a little flat. Let's plain, let's put all of these in. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter what sort of papers you use. You can use anything. Book pages. I'm sure you're all aware of all the different book pages and what have you that you can use. This is a beautiful old music piece that I got from the op shop the other day, or not op shop, the second-hand shop down at Winter, and it was an old book of Mozart, which was really nice. So there's lots of spots here that she can decorate, or she can just use it to journal in if she wants to sort of journal some ideas that she might have that she has seen around the place that she'd like to incorporate into journals at some stage. and I quite enjoy just doing, I did one signature that I sent to another friend, and that just had, one of the signatures was just paper, so that you can just have one signature and do as you wish, or and I will put this one in because that's a pattern one. We'll put that one at the back, and that will be enough. Usually around 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in that one. That's fine. Now when I get the signature ready, as I've done here, I use my metal ruler and I pop that into the center and whack it down a couple of times, and that holds everything in place. As I went through, I made sure I had the pages where I wanted them, and then I pop a paper clip, and I just put the paper clip on the ruler and then slide it on. So on the ruler and slide it on. One more here. Whoops, and the ruler's going to pop out. So on the ruler, fingers, and slide it on. So when you take it out, you haven't got them all. There you go. They're all there, and you've got a solid place to work with to put your signatures in. Okay. There. To determine how high you want your spine, I think I have done this in another video. I measure down the side, and this is, I'm sorry, I work in inches. I should start to get with it, shouldn't I? This is about 1.5 inches. So I've made the spine 1.5 inches. And this one's just going to be a very soft cover. I'm going to cover it in fabric. So basically I'll show you the signature only today. I work out how wide my spine's going to be. So this is 1.5 inches. No, it's not, it's 1 3/4. Sorry, I made the spine 1 3/4 inches. Then I divvy it up so that you've got equal parts. And what I did was I've done it at 1/2 inch on each side, then at 1 inch, and then at 1 3/4 inches, and then you go to your 2 1/4. So it's evened all the way along. These red lines are where the spine finishes, and the little pieces that go on the edge. These pieces I cross over, and I usually go down roughly 1 inch, it might be 1 inch and a bit more, and then put little crosses. This is the center of the signature, and then 1 inch up from the bottom. So that, sorry about that. That's how I work out where I'm going to put my holes for the signature. Now I use an old phone book. They're getting thinner and thinner up here. And where I've put those crosses, I put a hole through, and that's where I'm going to sew my signatures into that hole. Now I've got all this marking on here, so what I do when I put it into the book, on the journal, I turn it over, so none of that will be seen. But it just helps me to know that I've got the signatures in the right place. Okay, so that's how it will end up. This little one is just a piece that I've just cut, and it's probably only an 1 3/4 wide, and I lined up. I'll get rid of that light so you can see it a bit better. See that? I've lined up so that there's equal room top and bottom and then marked a little spot where the holes needed to go, and then I punched the holes. Now this piece is the exact height of the signature. This one might be a little bit different. It'll be the same height as this. The music paper is just a little bit wider, and I'm going to leave it there because it's a good effect. This piece is the same height as the journal, and in this case I've done this one 8 7/8 by 6 3/8 by measuring it all. You can decide, okay, I'm going to have an album that's 9 by 5 or 8 3/4 by 6 or whatever, and then you make up your pages. You cut your pages to that size. I've just decided that it's for demonstration purposes, just leave them as they are, and we'll pop them in like this. So the first thing I do is put the holes into this one. So we'll go back to that, and I'll just actually use that little one. Where did I put them all? Punch the holes in. Like that. They're all done, all ready to go. And this one I've done them. Now, to get the holes in the signature, I open up my book, get the signature, and I stick that in the middle. I'll just lift these up a fraction. And then I'll just slip this underneath. Same with this one, so that you can see it's the same width as the journal. Making sure that it's right in the center. Pop it into the fold. This is where the bigger books come in handy. And then find your hole and poke it in. Same here. Making sure you can see, and poke it in, and the same up this end, and poke it in. Now you've got your holes going all the way through your signature, and it's good if you can try and keep them on the line. So there's that one. Just take the template out. So this template is one that I've got for this specific journal size, and what I should do is 6 3/8 by 8 7/8, so you write it on there what size it is. Then you get your second signature, same deal, pop your little template in there. I just find this so much easier to do it this way. I used to do it when I did my mini albums the same. If I was doing something a little bit similar to this. And then same thing, you just find your hole, poke it in, and again. And if you feel as though it's not going through, you can take it out and then just have a look, and then back in and poke your hole. So that's that. So our signatures are ready, and we're basically going to sew it onto this, because then once they're sewn onto that, I can cover my book, the book cover, have it all covered. Then I can pop this on with the signatures, glue it down, and then stick the back and the front covers on, and that's all you need to do. So the first one I'll do is this one. Now I use, this is waxed linen thread. You can use crochet cotton, you can use just linen thread. There is bookbinder's twine out there. Some people use hemp, some people use jute. So yeah, it's just your preference. Now where's my proper needle? The one I like, that one. They all fell out the other day. I had a ripper of a day. This cold weather is mucking my hands about, and I suppose everybody that's got yucky old arthritic hands will know that. Okay. Now, when you sew, you go through from the front and into the middle signature of the signature and pull your thread through. Now to stop that thread going through, you can put a peg, whatever you like, just pop a bulldog clip there, and that will stop you losing your thread. I don't know how many times I've lost a thread. Then through the top, and now you go all the way down to the bottom and poke through. And because you've got these in, your holes should be all lined up. Okay, so there's plenty of other videos out there as well, so you'll always find different ideas. Now I go in here, just hold your thread this time so that you don't split your, now I've lost it, so that you don't split the thread. There we go, and then push it through. Once you've got it through, I can't remember if I told you I use 3 times the length of thread, mainly because I like to have dangles hanging down. Now make sure your threads are 1 each side of the middle string, and then being a brownie, I was a brownie days, didn't go to guides, but I learnt the right over left and left over right knot. There. And this one I've actually left it, this one a little short, but see how they hang down, and you can put beads or dangles or whatever on there, and you can also make punch out little paper butterflies, hearts, flowers, banners, whatever you like. So that one is a bit ridiculously long, so I will just cut that off a fraction. With the next one I'll leave it a bit longer so you can see. And you know what I've done, don't you? haven't sewn it onto the lesson learnt. There you go. This is what not to do. I'm glad I can teach you what not to do. So I'll just snip that and we might start again. Does that sound good to you guys? Sounds good to me. Right. Take 2. We have a piece of linen, waxed linen thread that is 3 times the width of the signature. Now we go in through the center. We also go in through the center of our template. Bulldog clip or something that will hold your thread so that you don't pull through. Then you go up to the top of your signature and you go into the hole at the top. At this stage it will be floppy around, so you can pull it tight. We go down to the bottom of the signature and we go into the hole and we go into the bottom of the template and we pull it. Now we go back into the center. Try and hold that thread so that you don't go through it. Keep it out of the way. And then it comes up through the center. And just pop that back so that we've got one string on one side and one string on the other. Just like playing a guitar, make sure it's tight. And then tie your double knot. Some people just tie an ordinary, just one knot, and that's entirely up to how you feel, but I do like doing the double knot. And there we have our first signature on the template, and you can see then how these will fall down. I'll take those out. And I do just like to fold. Like I said, these aren't, all the bits and pieces in here are just in with safety pins so that my friend can actually decide how she wants to do it, whether she wants to keep them in there. She can also take them out and see how they're made so that she can make some herself. She's new to journaling, so and this paper is Artie Mays, I think, the kit that I used, and that just helps it to lie flat. Now we'll go with the second. This one, it really hasn't got an up, well, yes it has got an up and down, hasn't it? Let me just double check. because I've got some paper in there, some book pages in there. Yes, so we need to have it that way. Okay, so I will now measure another 3. You would get away with 2 if lengths if you just want to have little dangles that sort of come down here to put some little paper charms or what have you on. But like I said, I just like the option of leaving that bit longer in case I decide to put beads or something like that on. So it's just easier for me. This is the right way, but I'm going to do it this way, in through the center and into the signature. Pull that through. Just make sure you don't catch the corners of your book when you turn it face down like this, because you could, you know, dog-ear them and what have you. Back in through the top. Pull it up. All the way across the top there to the bottom. Poke through and then through the template. We'll get back into the centre. Just make sure that we haven't got, I do it every time, don't I? That we haven't got the thread in the wrong spot so that I get it. Spear it. Oh, look at this time I've got one either side, so something happened, right? No. So we've got them either side there. Now we need to get that one tight. It still doesn't want to be tight. Now we're tight. So we do a double knot, take out our, so this is the old paper, the music paper, and it just, I don't know, it just gives a little bit of a nice effect with that, the old paper, but if my friend doesn't like it, she can chop it off. So there we have the signature sewn in to the template, which will eventually sit onto the cover, and we're all done. So, oh, look what I've done this time. Oh my Lord. Isn't it going to be one of those days when nothing goes right, everything goes wrong? I wonder if I can. Oh, good Lord. Oh dear, dear, dear. Well, you've seen Jeanette at her worst today, I think. Well, perhaps, I don't know. Don't know. But we did get out of it. We got out of it. There you go. There you go. Oh, lordy, lordy, Miss Claudie. I think I should go and have a snooze. Peter's at the football, the local footy, so I'm home on my own. Let me just fold those down again. This bit of vellum paper, I don't know if you can see it. It's vellum that I've spritzed with Tim Holtz inks, and then there's a couple of little shiny spots on it. I used a stamp, just like a grunge stamp with circles and what have you, and I put embossing powder, clear embossing powder on it. And I think it's just given it a nice shiny sort of effect. So that's something a bit different, just to, you know, instead of just popping straight vellum in there, something a little bit different. There we go. So I'm sorry about all the mistakes and all the bits and pieces, but you know, this is live with Jeanette, crafting with Jeanette. That's why she's called Crafty Dork. I remember my son, they used to call him Dork when he was playing netball, and one of the mums said, for goodness sake, don't call that boy a dork. And the boy said, but that's his name, Mum. And I was standing next to her. I said, yep, we're the original dorks. So there we be, that's us. Okay then, love and leave you. Have a wonderful crafty day. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy crafting. Bye for now.